Recently, some new friends asked me a very normal question about the death of my husband and how my grief process was going. And this reminded me of a dream that had really been pivotal in my healing process. It was a dream about a house. And at the time, I really didn't realize how much it was reframing and helping me heal in one of the most difficult seasons of my life. When people learn that I'm a fairly young widow, it creates curiosity that's not intrusive to me. I'm very open to sharing my experience, and it makes people put themselves in my shoes, metaphorically speaking, and try to imagine what would it be like for them to lose their spouse. And this conversation comes up more than you'd think. And each time I'm processing a little differently what my healing journey looks like. And this conversation really centered in on dreams. And I talked about how dreams before, during, and after the loss of my husband really were pivotal in my healing process. This most recent conversation brought this one dream back up that I realized I had never shared. And it's so powerful in how it reframed my future thinking as I was moving forward into this unknown world without my husband. And I'm going to share that with you today. But before we jump in, I want to talk to new watchers here. I do dream interpretation every single day. I am passionate, as you can tell from today's topic. Grief is huge. It's obviously a big part of my season this year. And I am passionate about how dreams can decode your future. They decode my future all the time. They've helped me walk through grief. And if this conversation interests you, please like and subscribe so you know when the next video comes out. And you're also helping me tell the algorithms that people like you like my content. Okay, so oftentimes a house, that's what we're going to focus on. My dream is about a house, and the house represents the dreamer. It represents you. Different rooms in the house are going to represent different seasons of your life or different emotional states of you, or sometimes different transitions in life. And then here's what's pivotal in the dream I'm going to share with you today. Changes inside the house represent changes inside you. And this dream showed changes that I want to get this right. It's preparatory, not predictive. So it's not telling me what I'm going to do. It's giving me a vision of what I can do in this next season of life. And I'm going to explain that in just a moment. Here's a critical part. Dreams will not replace therapy. They won't replace the grief process. They won't replace the people and community that you need to come surround you as you walk out your grief. What they will do is come alongside you as a companion to help you in a very personal way to your circumstance and your life process through that grief. It's a helpmate, and it's already there in your dream life as it was for me. And let's walk through what that looks like in my situation specifically. Okay, I had this dream on March 14th of 2025, and that date is really important. I'll share with you at the end of the dream why. Let me walk through it first. I was in a beautiful home that was like a greenhouse. I tried to move the roof to use in another area, but it crumbled in my hands. The older family member of mine was worried that it was gone, and I felt bad. We then saw that we could roll up the ceiling roof in one area and move it to another, and this raised my spirits. I've moved into Mama's house and lived there a while. I started to get antsy to begin making it my own, and I thought how I didn't realize this would be like how Aaron and I had asked to live with Mama in the past, and it was for us to be there to help her. Then I was able to start small. There was a lot of furniture, and I began to rearrange it in much better fashion, and this felt so good. Now, initially, this does not look like a grief dream, does it? I'm going to walk you through some of the symbols. Now, notice, for those who know, my husband passed in May, the last day of May 2025. This dream came prior to his passing, and that's important. I will walk through the days, literally how many days this dream came prior to his passing, and how that connects to another dream I had. It's going to blow your mind, guys. This is why I love dreams. And I say it every time, but dreams will blow your mind when you start tracking them. Let's look at a few of these symbols. Okay. A beautiful home that was like a greenhouse. So that's like inside me and inside my life. I'm going to call this more than just me. I'm going to call it my family unit. And here's why, because we're talking about a roof. A roof, think about it, everyone under one roof. You've heard that euphemism. So it's talking about my family life, and it's a beautiful greenhouse. So it's it's full of life and growth and beauty and sunlight. And that is just beautiful symbolism describing my life prior to my husband's death. Now the roof, that's like the covering or the protection, and it crumbles in my hands. Now, at the time I had this dream, I didn't understand what that means. Of course, after Aaron's death, I understand it's like my security, my protection, what made me feel safe, it crumbled in my hands, right? That's what death does. Like, I'm not going to sensationalize it or say that the death of my husband after a 22-year marriage was easy. It wasn't. But what this dream is clarifying for me, especially with someone that I struggle to just to put into words my deepest emotions. And let me tell you that grief is your deepest emotions. And I struggle to put that into words. This dream put it into words for me in such a beautiful fashion. So if you notice, it says an older family member of mine was worried that it was gone and I felt bad. That's an old part of me. That's like an unrenewed maybe part of me that is worried I'll never get it back. And I've talked about that in some of my older content. Like, I was worried I'd never get my joy back after Aaron died. And that's what this was representing prior to his death. It could only be understood after I really walked through part of this healing process as well. This dream helped a little later in my grief. Okay, next. So what I'm able to do is take one part of that roof and move it over. It's like I'm rearranging things so that I can still feel safe and I can still feel that protection. It's just moving around. Does that make sense? Okay. Now, this is very important. My mama, I had just a little bit of background. I understood, I want to say, it's hard to remember. I want to say from the very beginning of my marriage to Aaron that he would die young. It was this knowing inside. In fact, I understood that he would die likely in his 40s. And let me explain this. It connects back to my mama. So my mama is my great grandmother. My grandparents on both sides, my grandma on my dad's side and my grandma on my mom's side, both had schizophrenia, believe it or not. So they were not an integral part of my life, but my great grandmother, my mama, was. Now, her and my life path really paralleled a lot. So I married young. I married Aaron 2 weeks before my 19th birthday. She married her first husband very young as well. And we connected on that. She was one of the first people to really receive that I wanted to marry Aaron that young. Everyone else pretty much freaked out. But my mama met me where I was at. And then she had boys and I had boys. And it was something inside that told me where her first husband and the love of her life died in his 40s. This is what I understood it to be. Turns out I was wrong. He died in his early 50s, but this whole time, this whole 20 plus years, I thought he had died somewhere in his 40s. And so over time, I would kind of check my intuition on this, and I was like, am I just freaking myself out, or will Aaron really pass in his 40s? And each time it would settle in my spirit unknowing. And here's the beautiful part of that. Because I had this knowing from the beginning, I lived intentionally with Aaron. I made decisions differently in my marriage because I understood that although I wasn't sure, there's a possibility that I was going to lose him young. And so I didn't want to have any regrets. And that worked. I have very few regrets from my marriage. And that's huge. That is a huge gift post losing your husband. Okay. All of that to say, the fact that I'm in my mama's house, that's what makes it significant in this dream. And here, what it's saying is, from the beginning, my life mirrored my mama's life. We married young. We married our high school sweethearts. We had boys, and we lost our husbands young. He was probably 50, 51. Aaron was 43 when he died. So the timing was different, but the intuition was accurate. Upwards of about a week prior to Aaron going into the hospital, I had checked again and still had that knowing that I was probably going to lose him in his 40s. So here's the significant change in this dream. Are you ready? Listen, I said, where is it? I was able to start small. So I'm getting anxious. I want to rearrange and make this life that's so much like my mama's different. I want to rearrange the furniture. And I start small. There's a lot of furniture. And I begin to rearrange it in much better fashion. And it felt so good. Let me tell you why this matters so much. What this dream is showing is that, yes, not only has my life mirrored my mama's life to a pretty extraordinary extent, what it's showing is it will not continue that way. So she went on to marry 2 more husbands. And this wonderful woman had a boyfriend at the time of her own death. She had no problem in the love relationship area, but she lost 2 more times husbands that she loved deeply. What this dream is telling me, I can rearrange that. I can rearrange now my life so that the outcome is different from hers. And that is a very subtle shift that has settled into my spirit over this time since Aaron's death. So whereas I spent many years understanding that I would lose my husband early and my life adjusted for that, now the understanding is different. I do not believe, and that's so important, I do not believe here or here that the remainder of my life will be like my mama's. I don't now live with that kind of heaviness over me. I can heal. I can take the roof and move it over. I can rearrange the furniture of my life, and I can breathe, and I can have joy. And here is the next really amazing part, okay? That dream was exactly 78 days from Aaron's death. Why this is so important, I'm going to pull this up to make sure I get this date right. This is why you have to catalog your dreams, no matter how insignificant or stupid they seem. Listen to this. On April 28th of 2023, this is the only thing I dreamed. 78. I literally woke up and the number 78 is all I remembered. And thank God I wrote it down, because did you just hear what I just said? One dream in April of 23 was nothing but 78. And then I have a dream about how I can overcome grief and loss of my husband exactly 78 days before, not after, before he dies. That is powerful. That I don't even have words. I am still to this day ruminating on how powerful this is. And it's more than that. Why 7-8, right? Here's why. There's meanings to numbers. Hopefully you've heard of this before. Numerology. 7, one of the meanings to the number 7 is fullness of accomplishment. And one of the meanings for 8 is eternity, because an 8 always keeps looping. Fullness of accomplishment and eternity. That was the meaning of the numbers that I woke up from in April of 23, and that were the exact amount of days between a grief preparatory dream and the death of my husband. I don't know what else to tell you. I don't know how else to convince you that your dream life is decoding your future. If you made it all the way through to the end of this episode, thank you so much for watching. I love talking about dreams, and I hope you enjoyed it too. If you did, hit the subscribe button because this channel is only here because of you. And if you want to dive deeper into your own dreams, I have a free community for that.